My mother's husband acts like he has rights to see my daughter, by user anonymous girl 309. I 21, F, made the decision to cut my stepfather out of my life completely. I also made the choice that he will not be seeing my daughter. Period. He was so abusive to me growing up and pretended the abuse didn't happen. He constantly gaslights me. He mentally and emotionally abused me. When I was having mental problems, my stepdad convinced my mother I was lying. He would call me names and make fun of me for not knowing how to do things I wasn't taught how to do. He would tell me how stupid I am. He would make fun of me for being autistic and bipolar. He would do or say things to purposefully provoke me. He would say, "I wish you would hit me. Fight me, what's up?" Thing is, I never challenged him to a fight. I would defend myself from further injury and he would tell everyone I hit him. That I started a fight with him. Keep in mind I was a 5'5" 120-pound girl. He would physically abuse me. He would punch and slap me in the face. Shove me against walls. He thrown things at me. He told me that he wishes my attempt succeeded. He would always exclude me from family outings and going out places. I was excluded from everything. I got awards from an art show and he claimed I was showing off and was angry that I was trying to hang them up inside my bedroom and demand that I throw them away. He was upset because I had awards and my sister did it. He told me that it's not fair that I'm rubbing those words in her face because she didn't win any. My sister was his favorite, anything she wanted she got. I was stuck with old clothes that didn't fit while my sister got new books, new makeup, new clothes, new shoes, you name it. She was the golden child. I was forgotten about. Every time I had plans with my mother he'd force her to cancel them so she can go with him. She chose men over me. I had a daughter in February. I love her so much and want to protect her. My mother asked when I would let him see the baby. I made it clear that wasn't happening. He is angry I won't let him see her. He said to my mom, "If I can't see her then nobody else can. It's not fair that she's excluding me when I provided food, clothes, and a roof over her head. She owes me. She was a difficult child to raise." I wasn't difficult, I had mental issues that weren't taken seriously or diagnosed. I went through a lot of trauma, that my family denied even happening. My stepdad went on FB and talked about how I'm excluding him and that I'm an ungrateful brat. He had family reaching out to me to get over the shitty things he'd done. He will never see my daughter. He will never see me again. He is cut out of my life forever. Stepmonster tried to hijack our baby shower, by user Drujibuki42. I mentioned in my last post that I was thinking about sharing some stories from before I, finally, got an RO against my lovely SM and went NC with my father. Though there are plenty worth writing about, I'll start with one of my sister's favorites. All names are fake. My fiancée Jane found out she was pregnant in June 2021, and we announced it to our immediate families in August. At first, SM was completely uninterested in our baby. Not that I expected much from the woman whose reaction to our pregnancy announcement was to ask Jane if she was sure it was mine. Even my dad berated her for that one, but she barely seemed to acknowledge the fact that we were expecting. Instead, she was more interested in my stepbrother, who was also engaged, and would give her beautiful grandbabies soon. No complaints. We didn't want her involved, and we didn't even have to say anything. Planning our baby shower was complicated. Both me and Jane would have to work until the holidays, and I wanted to be involved. The due date was in February 2022, so we decided on early January as the best period of time. We enlisted 2 people as planners, my sister Laura, just realized I'd never given her a name, and Jane's best friend Nina. Me and Jane are mostly laid-back people. We didn't want a big party, nor did we want to spend too much money on it. We were saving for both our baby and the wedding. We decided early on that the shower would be co-ed. It would also have to be indoors, again, January, and we settled on a guest list of 25 people, plus about a dozen kids. We came up with the idea of a pizza party. Me, Jane and Luke, my BIL/surrogate son, have had homemade pizza nights weekly since I moved in, and we thought it would be fun to incorporate that into the shower. Nina found an event venue with a pizza oven, and Laura figured out ways to incorporate classic baby shower stuff into the theme. The resulting plans were awesome. Make your own pizzas, non-alcoholic drinks, and plain bodysuits for the kids to customize. Nina and Laura mixed pizza decor with baby decor and found pizza-shaped sweets. It almost seemed messy, and I was surprised they made it work, but we loved it. Most of the planning was finished by the middle of November. Well, later that month, my stepbrother's fiancée left him for her ex. They'd been together for 4 years at that point, and it was both sudden and traumatizing for him. He was devastated. SM then realized the grandkids she dreamed of would take longer to come than she'd thought. So naturally, without her son's milestones to obsess over, she moved on to mine. Suddenly, SM went from aloof relative to excited grandma-to-be. Facebook posts, tacky promoted to Nana shirts, the whole nine. At first, we were too busy finishing things up at work and getting ready for the holidays to worry about that, but it didn't take long for her to start pestering us about planning the baby shower, as well as a gender reveal. We denied the possibility of a gender reveal party. No offense to those who like them, but we don't. Plus, we had decided to wait until birth to find out the sex. SM tried to get us to find out and tell her as a Christmas present, but we didn't. We also denied her the baby shower. She told my father, and he told Laura into letting SM help out with the plans. She was still living with it at the time, so she didn't have much of a choice. She called Nina, and they met SM for coffee. Though I wasn't there for that meeting, Laura told me what happened later. Before they could even mention their plans, SM started talking about hers. According to Laura, she pulled a shockingly thick binder, complete with the words "Oh, baby," on the cover, colorful tabs and pieces of fabric poking out, from her bag, and skipped to the shower section. It was short compared to the rest of the binder, but still long. And it was all to describe her one and only baby shower project. Laura sent me pictures, and, oh boy! I'll give her this, it looked like the most Instagrammable baby shower ever. That being said, it was also barely functional and obviously expensive. There were balloons, oversized teddy bears, giant alphabet blocks and cringe-worthy signs everywhere. SM was going for pretty over cozy, with uncomfortable chairs and some fancy food ideas that didn't look edible. Most of them had soft cheeses, which Jane couldn't eat. The color palette was just 3 different shades of pink with gold accents. We'd be fine with a pink baby shower if it at least tried to mix things up a little, but SM's pictures looked like Barbie had puked all over Hello Kitty's birthday party. When Nina tried to remind her that we didn't know the sex, SM said she just knew that it was a girl. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. SM also wanted an all-female, child-free party with fancy caterers and alcohol. She had written down a guest suggestion list containing some of her closest friends, neither mine nor Jane's moms were on it, and planned party games no one had any interest in trying out. Basically the only thing everyone could agree on was to hold the party indoors. Laura and Nina weren't given an opportunity to show her their plans until she was done. Once they could, they explained that, while they could find a way to incorporate some of SM's ideas, they'd already settled on the pizza theme. She tried to protest, but Laura stated that it was kind of them to even offer that, as the shower was a month away and we'd already greenlit their plans. SM even called me to try to get them to change their minds, but I just repeated their words. My dad had found out he couldn't come to the shower, so he didn't get a say in anything anymore. The holidays came around, and the subject was dropped. SM seemed to be okay with the pizza party. Nina managed to pair some of the pink decor she'd wanted with matching blue stuff, and even added one of the huge teddy bears. Fast forward to a week before the shower. Jane was almost 8 months pregnant. Everything had been bought, all guests had RSVP'd, and pretty much anything was ready to go. The shower was set to start at 7 p.m. SM offered to get to the venue earlier to prepare everything. Laura agreed, mostly because she knew SM would complain if she didn't get to do anything, and the venue even let them drop off their decorations before the party. Me and Jane promised to get there at 6. 2 days before the shower, however, the venue called Nina. They told her that SM had stopped by to drop off large, heavy boxes of what she called a little surprise for us. She'd informed them that she planned on showing up at 3:30 p.m. to start setting it up. They were calling to reinforce that the venue was only booked past 4 p.m., since SM almost threw a tantrum when told that. All of the decor was still at Nina's place, so she called Laura to check if they'd left anything with SM. Thankfully, my sister is both smart and used to this shit, so she drove to the venue the next day and asked to see SM's boxes. She told me she wasn't even surprised at its contents when she opened them, but was still shocked at SM's audacity. All of the boxes were filled with pink, frilly decorations. Some of them seemed to be the exact same items SM had initially shown Laura and Nina. The signs, the balloons, the placemats, everything. Laura realized that's why SM intended to get to the venue earlier, to set up the baby shower she'd planned and pretty much force us all to party in Barbie hell with her. She called Nina to figure out what to do. Neither of them could come at 4 p.m., so it was almost inevitable for SM to get her way. The most obvious solution they came up with was to throw everything away. But Laura had a better idea. That night, they called me and Jane. "Hey, wanna destroy a party in 2 hours?" Laura got home and invited SM to go to a salon with her, lying about having coupons. SM agreed, and they planned on going right after SM was done preparing the baby shower. At 4 p.m. the next day, SM got to the venue. She was done setting things up by 5, I'll admit, the woman is fast, and quickly left to meet Laura at the salon. Once they were together, Laura texted Nina that the coast was clear. At that, me, Jane and Nina went to the venue. Sure enough, SM had prepared her party. To make this shorter, I won't describe it, but I will say it was so pink it almost gave Jane nausea. For the next 2 hours, Laura distracted SM at the salon while the three of us quickly took down every piece of decor SM had put up and replaced it with the pizza party stuff. We set up the activities, made up the tables, and put every pink item we found back in SM's boxes. It was actually really fun. We were done only minutes before the shower started. A handful of guests arrived before SM did, so I barely saw her all night. Laura told me that when they got there, SM's jaw dropped as she tried to make sense of what had happened to all her pink decor. My sister just smiled, whispered "nice try" in her ear, and went to help Luke customize a bodysuit. Overall, the baby shower was everything we'd hoped for. Our friends were there, people had fun and we had a ton of pizza. So I didn't really care that SM spent the whole party literally sulking in the corner. Nina did catch her trying to put little pink bows on top of the cupcakes, but she quickly shut that down. I give Laura and Nina full credit for saving the day. SM's interest in our baby quickly died after that. She stopped wearing her Nana shirts, didn't come to see us at the hospital when he was born and refused to even acknowledge that he was a boy until she met him weeks later. Up until we went NC, she was a very loose definition of the word grandmother. I couldn't be more grateful my son will never know her. Edit, the baby shower was at 7 p.m. because it was the only time that worked for everyone. That included the venue, because it was booked for the morning and we needed time to set things up. Luke was the only small child there, all the others were at least 9. Most of the parents there left early on, too. Also, though it wasn't child-free and we were prepared for everyone we'd invited, not everyone on the guest list was able to come. My mother's husband acts like he has rights to see my daughter Part 2, by user anonymous girl309. So this is Part 2 and this is mostly to vent. So Step Monster has really crossed a line. A long time ago I blocked him on all my socials and phone numbers. My cousin who is friends with him on FB, keep in mind, she's on my side. She screenshot a post of his and sent it to me on Facebook Messenger. He was encouraging people to call CPS on me because I'm unstable and unfit. He leaked my phone number so I'm trying to go get it changed. I have people blowing up my phone with phone calls and messages. Is there any legal action I can charge him for him leaking my number? Because I went to the magistrate to try to get a protective order and they said there's not enough evidence that I need a protective order. Now I have to go through the hassle of getting my number changed. I told my mother straight up, he is not to post about me anymore. He's not to try to contact people to communicate to me for him. Do not bring him up around me. No more communicating for him or no communication from him. I'm so mad because my phone number was personal, I changed it before. And I found out how he got my phone number. A family member gave it to him. My sister and cousin gave me a heads up that CPS may visit my house. How should I prepare my house for CPS? I always have a clean house. It may not be spotless but it's pretty clean. I even have any medications put away and important papers in one place. So can anyone who had experience with CPS or is a CPS social worker tell me how I can combat this? Because now he's escalating and coming for my family. I don't understand how someone is so evil. Because he is not getting his way he's acting like a man baby have a toddler tantrum. He has no control and it's driving him crazy. So I gave my mother an ultimatum. Either she puts a stop to him and his antics, or she won't be seeing me or my daughter again. If need be I'll even offer her a divorce lawyer. So I told her to put a stop to him or suffer the consequences. My stepdad is such an entitled narcissist I despise him. I'll update on my mother's choice because she hasn't made one yet. I gave her a deadline of 24 hours to make a decision. I'm not playing game anymore. You mess with me and my family, you'll get the horns. Mess with the bull you get the horns. I believe my parents resent me for starting my own family, by user Letoin. I posted this in another sub, and someone recommend I post it here. I hope that's okay. I had somewhat of a revelation this weekend. I'm still processing how I feel about it and considering if I should confront my parents. Anyway, here it is. I believe my parents resent me for starting my own family. I, 40M, come from a big family. I'm the second oldest of 9 kids. My older sister, Jane, is just a year older than me. There is a 6-year gap between me and the next sibling, then my mom had a kid every 2 to 3 years. Since Jane and I were the oldest, we always helped with the little kids and the chores around the house. In fact, it was common for my parents and other adults to refer to us as Jane and OP and the kids. It's like Jane and I were not considered children, it's more like we were 2 other adults living in the house. We were homeschooled, so we were home all the time. Part of my job is that I would wake up, make breakfast for the kids, then get them started with their school or activities before I started my own schoolwork. Jane would sleep in because she was more of a night owl, and it was her job to help at night with the baby, because there was always a baby. Jane and I did most of the chores around the house. We took turns either cleaning the kitchen or doing the laundry, of which there was a lot. I did all the guy stuff, like mowing the yard and taking out the trash. As I got older, I would delegate some of these chores to my younger brothers, but it was still my responsibility to make sure it got done. Once I was old enough to drive, I would run errands and take the kids everywhere. I can't tell you how many times I would take the kids to things like playdates or doctor's appointments. I would often tuck the kids in bed and tell them stories. To me these things were all just normal, but looking back on it I was more like a second dad to the kids than a brother. Jane and I did have a lot of freedom as teenagers to go out with our friends, if the chores were done. We didn't have cell phones back then. If we wanted to go out we would just tell our parents we were going and they didn't care, as long as we were back by the next morning. I moved out when I was 20, but I still spent a lot of time at my parents', and one of my younger siblings was almost always at my house. One brother, JJ, pretty much lived with me since he was 14 because he and our mom didn't get along. When JJ was 17 he got in a wreck and he called me instead of calling Dad, because I was just the one who handled those kinds of things. During all of this time my parents always talked about how important it was for Jane and I to help with the kids because they were so busy with their ministry. I can't count how many times I had to drop what I was doing to take care of something because Mom or Dad were counseling someone. Sorry, I feel like I'm rambling. I hope I have painted an accurate picture of my childhood. Let's move on. I had not really dated much, but when I was 25 I met and started dating Anne. We fell in love fast, and got married less than a year later. My younger siblings love Anne. She is a great cook and hostess, our house became the hangout spot. My younger siblings started calling her Mama Anne, something they still do to this day. We have now been married 15 years and have 2 kids of our own. My mom and Jane did not like and Jane and Anne get along okay now, but Anne and my mom do not have a good relationship. I never understood why, but I think I have finally figured out it's because they see it as Anne having taken me away. As Anne and I focused on our relationship and started a family, I spent less and less time doing things for my parents. My dad liked Anne at first, but over the past few years their relationship has soured. Throughout the years my dad has made comments to me about keeping up my responsibilities. One time he called me about one of the younger kids, who had gotten in a fight with my mom, and said you better get your brother and change his attitude. It's not okay how he treated your mom and you are going to make him apologize. A few years ago Anne and I set some boundaries with my parents, telling them we were not going to raise or discipline their kids. Our home is always open to my siblings, but we no longer let my parents try and use us to straighten them up. My parents have not taken this well. About a year ago Anne injured her foot and couldn't walk for a while. Just as she was getting better, I was diagnosed with kidney disease, which then turned into kidney failure. I've had several surgeries, with another one coming in a few weeks. It's been a rough year. During this time my parents have not only refused to help, they have actively made things harder for us. Things like promising to help with our kids but then cancelling at the last minute, usually because something ministry related came up. Recently my sister-in-law, who lives in another state, had a baby, and my mom has been staying with her and helping for the past 6 weeks. My sil has said that mom is a godsend and is so wonderful. My dad has gone to help every weekend. This hurts me, because my mom wouldn't give us a single night to help with our youngest when he was born. Anyway, I'm sorry this post has turned out longer than I thought it would. I needed to get some of this off my chest. This weekend I was talking to another sister and telling her how I don't understand why mom and dad don't treat me like they do the rest of the kids, even Jane. It's like I'm not one of their children. And it just kind of hit me that they resent me for getting married and starting my own family and leaving them to raise their own kids. Part of me is relieved to finally realize why they treat me like they do, and part of me is sad. I'm kind of scared about this upcoming surgery, and I really wish I had a parent I could talk to about it. But I don't feel like I have parents, just some people that I co-parented my siblings with. Edit, I posted an update here, https://www.reddit.com/r/entitled-parents/comment/138luq0/update_I_believe_me_parents_me_for/. My mother's husband acts like he has rights to see my daughter Part 3, by user anonymous girl 309. So I gave my mother a deadline of 24 hours to make a decision with the ultimatum I gave her. It was either get your husband under control or get cut off. So I messaged her and asked what her choice was because I informed her that 24 hours is up. I asked, what choice did you make? I hope you chose wisely. She tells me, fine, you have to make everything so difficult. I'll make him stop. Which I'm surprised she chose that choice. I have no idea how long she'll stick to it. But I gave my mom's husband the horns. I know how I gave him the horns may be considered petty by other people, but I made a Facebook post exposing him and with the screenshots of him talking poorly of me and telling people to call CPS. The post read, as you all know is my stepfather. He has been posting horrible and untrue things about me online. He whines about how I exclude him and how it's not fair. He always plays victim. He abused me throughout my childhood, he was mentally, physically, and verbally abusive. He would always make sure I was excluded from family events. He would purposely provoke me to get me in trouble. He would always try to start fights with me. He is only telling people to call CPS because he is a big man baby who is not getting his way. He will never see me and my daughters, so stop believing his lies. I am not unfit and I don't have to prove anything to anyone. After I made that post, the family members who were supportive agreed that I told it like it is and that what I said was true. There were other family members who were upset that I did that and told me I was childish. People recommend in the last post that I should post his number on weird sites. But that would be doxing. I am not going to risk getting in trouble when I have a daughter. This is part 3. That's the update.